the players really do not care about putting in money for battle passes, for sets, etc.
What do you think would be like the iconic set that's going to come out for a certain hero? Like, is there anyone that, I mentioned Arteezy's Naga and No-Tail's Meepo and that sort of stuff. Is there anyone that you would be like, they need a set because they are that hero? Like I'm just Puppy Enchantress, for example, could be
Mm-hmm.
one. Anything else that springs to
I'm
mind?
trying to think of like what, like, do you really want to see an Enchantress set though?
5
Like, I feel
seconds
like
remaining.
if
Abed Storm Spirit or Sumail Storm Spirit. There's one.
definitely, yeah, you could definitely go with the
Dire
Arbet or
team pick.
Storm Spirit. I'm trying to think of some other like heroes that we could see. We got some heroes in the game. Ambo, PO. How about them? Any stand out for them? Not that I can think of.
No one that's like, sky's the limit above the rest. Like if
Yeah.
Attacker was on a team, he would have the Conquer set,
10
for example.
seconds remaining.
Arise Magnus would be a thing. For all those
5
big plays that
seconds
he's able to
remaining.
make. So there's no one that super stands out above all the rest for mine, other than a few of the ones that we've mentioned. Oh, maybe like I always get his name wrong. Is it Zahak or Zayat Techies from the southeast from the CIS region?
Yeah.
I think he also stands out as well.
Dire team
Yeah, he's one of the
back.
few that really found a way to actually play the techies at a pro level. We're also getting more new heroes here, Danog. This is a hero that I have not seen a whole lot lately in the Shadow Fiend.
Radiant team ban.
What do we feel like what do you feel like Lilgun are looking for the Shadow Fiend to do in this game?
See, I don't mind the Shadow Fiend, provided that Ace plays a little bit more defensively around these supports, because he's one of those heroes that he needs to snowball.
10
If you're
seconds
dying
remaining.
more than 3 times before the 15-minute mark, I don't want to see your game's over, but it's going to be
5
really
seconds
rough.
remaining.
And
Dire
you already
team
don't
ban.
have the easiest time against a Nyx Assassin. Like, they're guaranteed going to be able to stun you. You might even stay in Vendetta, hell, just to be able to get that guaranteed Spike Carapace off in a team fight, get that initial lockdown that you need to be able to burst him through. But I don't know, I still feel like these heroes that want to
10
be
seconds
spamming out a
remaining.
lot of their mana are underpicked in the mid lane, because there's water
5
runes now.
seconds
There's
remaining.
like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes. There's runes.
Radiant
There's so many
team
runes. So
ban.
all these bottle carriers are at a surplus of mana a lot of the time, and so he can really bully out a lot of heroes in the lane. Same sort of thing with Alina. I suppose the Storm Spirit is, in my opinion, probably the strongest mid laner right now, just because, and the Puck, just because you provide all of that lane shove, a lot of that
10
harass,
seconds
but also
remaining.
you have that rotation potential as well.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and this is where something like the Shadow Fiend could thrive, because you're someone who really relies on the rune
Dire
control,
team pick.
flash farming with the razors, and having like an early advantage in a quick farmed item. So we'll see. And he's also got some decent mobility as well for the Shadow Fiend. This was a hero that was getting a lot of minor buffs in the movement speed, but really was not enough to force him to be
10
picked up.
seconds remaining.
It's some decent movement speed, though, you mentioned, and not the
5
strongest
seconds
roaming
remaining.
supports on the Nyx Assassin in the AA, at least pre-6, So the Nyx Assassin, like, you're going to need to either make some mistakes with your vision, or he's going to
Radiant
need to be
team pick.
really sneaky to be able to get in
Naga
on top of you. We
Siren.
talk about the Naga, so we just will things into existence here. That's all we do. But like with the Nyx Assassin, it's not like a Tusk or a Clockwork or a Moran or an Earth Spirit, something that's able to make that gank happen from afar, or at
10
least close the
seconds
gap really
remaining.
quickly. So the Shadow Fiend, he's going to have a bit of an easier time to be able
5
to turn
seconds
around against all of
remaining.
that. But with this Naga pickup, wonder how they're going to finish out this draft. I would love to see a Dazzle position 3 come out here from Boom. I want to see how that works, because as soon as you get that Ag Shard, all those Naga illusions, gone. Hex onto multiple targets. Lion's already been picked. Just for a bit of the memes, I want to see it come
For
out.
the
But
memes.
that would leave them a little bit of problems with a frontliner. At least at the very start. Once PL gets 2-3 items, he can do that. But I think it would be putting too much of a burden on the Ember Spirit to go the Dazzle right now.
What are they offer?
Unless...
Choose your hero.
Damn. Underlord. Yeah, he'll do. He's beefy enough.
He is. He really is that beefy boy. And it gives you at least a way to help kind of deal with the Naga illusions, which is something they were lacking. You probably force for Rams to go for the Maelstrom this game to help out. but the Ancient Apparition, Nyx Assassin really aren't going to have that capability. And I actually don't mind the Lilgun draft. I think the Shadow Fiend matchup, you were saying like the Nyx Assassin's going to provide you a lot of kill threat. So Sanctity is actually going to have to be really on point here. Yeah, like I'm worried that Sanctity might, like he should have a very good lane versus Ember, but I'm worried that through the 11 to 15 minutes, he might get picked off a couple of times, and that can really slow his game down. But
and that's why it's going to be so heavily on Ace to be in position to be able to stop that from happening. Like, a Naga Siren probably isn't going to die against this sort of lineup. You've got insanely high armor, so it's going to rely heavily on magical damage, and you don't have a ton of it at the super start of the game. So as long as you can get that decent start to the laning phase, which an Abaddon is going to give you when there's not that kill threat for the Shadow Fiend, I think Lilgun are going to come out of this laning stage just fine.
Yeah, overall, how about the game though? You feel like Lilgun, their lane should be relatively strong. Do you feel like they have what it takes to be able to take this game one here?
Just for the spiciness and to, add a few more heroes to the pool that might start to be picked throughout this Luke Bet Pro Series number 6. Let's say yes. Let's go with Lilgun because they've gone with a couple of new heroes. Wait, we say new, but underpicked heroes in the Shadow Fiend and the Naga Siren, where it's much more standard fare coming from Boom.
Yeah, well, we can still go with new. The later stages of yesterday, we were getting a lot of these unpicked heroes. Now this series we're getting a couple as well. Underlord. I don't think we've seen a Phantom Lancer. So Underlord, Phantom Lancer, Naga, Shadow Fiend. 4 new heroes for us. Love to see it. How do we
Now just double check in game because I think during the draft it said Lilgun was the one with the Nyx Assassin as opposed to the other way around. So is it the same in game or how's it looking?
Wait, hang on, what's going on?
So in the draft screen, it was saying like the team with Nyx, AA, Ember, PL, etc. was Lilgun when it's actually Boom. So in game, has it corrected itself or?
No, it has
at least
not.
on your end.
No.
All right. We spotted it. That's the important thing.
I didn't press save. That's the classic.
Oh,
I need the
always
auto
save your work. You can be doing an assignment, you can be running a Dota stream, and well, this is what happens. All right, I'm gonna have a look around and see if any of these people have already gone out and purchased some of these supporter packs. They're supporting. That's very tactical. Look at Rams. He's got the Boom supporter pack already. So he's like, yeah, I'll scratch your back. You scratch mine. Let me stand in for you.
See, I wish it said what level they were as well. I don't know how you'd easily be able to find out though.
If they're spamming voice lines, they're gold.
True, actually, I didn't even think about that. I didn't check the chat. Now, Rams is just is going through him right now. Going through him. We haven't seen those sprays just yet.
Not yet, but that's kind of how pauses work, Aries. You can't do things.
No, I know, but I mean like it's just overall with the supporter packs. Like we see them occasionally. We saw the 2Es for RTs a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it we've seen, honestly. I'm trying to think. I think that was Sanctity that was spamming it a bunch. Trying to think who had it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, use all of it.
I mean, they're chat wheeling a little bit here. Is Dreamer Cells? Yeah, see, like, okay, no, it is showing. Maybe it only shows after you actually do the voice line or something like that. Because I swear I was looking at Dreamer Cells one before, and it didn't have the secret logo next to his name, like next to his actual hero model. Maybe I'm just blind though.
I wonder what the players' thought process are, because we've seen I've seen some teams that just have their own a supporter pack, and then I've also seen players just go for some of the teams they like. They like the voice lines, they like whatever else comes with it. It's like, do you double down and kind of have this extra cohesion power with having 5 of your team logos on all the players, or to kind of mix it up a little bit.
I think it depends how stable your position on the team is. You know, like if you're a core member, you can go and do whatever the hell you want. But if you're like, oh, I haven't been playing that well these past few weeks, better buy the supporter pack and start spamming it out in these games that are being broadcast. Get some money in for the organization.
Just got to make sure they're able to firmly control their position. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
How about the...
It's not about what you know, it's about who you know and, you know, who you're impressing, right?
Very true. Connections in life. Apparently they're important.
And in Dota, because we've still got a DC here on Marvel. See, you love that segue? I know you do.
Oh.
They've said go in ready on Boom's side. While we're waiting for the reconnect, what were you doing during your break? I heard some talk about protein shakes. Are you getting swole on me? Are you just going to be able to carry this entire cast as well as myself in real life? What's going on?
I'm trying to get swole. Get in the guns. Gotta impress some people. I'm trying to impress myself. That's the main thing, Danog. You know, we're all about the self-positivity. We're all about the body image. We're trying to better ourselves here.
Very good.
Is that right? Is that right? I know you've been in the gym a little bit. How's that been going?
Have I?
Well, I don't know. I saw
not these past 2 weeks. I've had the sniffles, so I haven't been wanting to spread my cold. It's just a cold, nothing major, but it's just persistent, which is a little annoying. But I got my little dumbbells at home. I've been doing probably less than I should have, but it's a journey. It's not a race.
That is very true. It's a lifelong pursuit, and then you get into it. You get the grind going. It's fun. Man, I bought this. What I get? It's like choc. It's cookie choc fudge, I think. Or no, fudge cookie dough, I think. Yeah, fudge cookie dough,
Protein
I think
powder.
it is. Yeah, and I tell you what, you put some almond milk in there, and I'm actually having a chalky milkshake. And it's like, I'm actually having like the most delicious thing. But it's too deadly. It's really too deadly, because I just want more.
Thanks,
it's
guys.
like, I'll have one.
Thanks,
Like,
guys. Thanks a
can I
lot.
get away with another? But like, oh, they're so expensive too.
You're not going to overdose on protein, it's fine. But we've got a big rotation here. It wouldn't be C Dota unless 5 people were running at each other before the horn. No one's really dying, though. They're just able to back off after a couple of spells get thrown out.
No real big connection with any damage just yet.
Just 5-man mid. Why not?
This is honestly something that we haven't seen too much through our past couple of series, from yesterday and the first one today, which I found surprising. Like, I was like, what's going on here? A team's just not
The battle
contesting the
begins.
bounty runes again?
I mean, we saw that one come through from Lilgun, right? They picked off Masaros with the smoke gang. But, yeah, and that net them 3 bounty runes as well. But unfortunately for them, the game didn't turn out as well as they might like. But I don't know, like, there are teams that always tend to do that, and there are teams that never do. And it's just, again, just as much as the draft, about knowing your opponent and knowing what to expect from them and how to position themselves. You know, it's not all down to mechanical skill. It's so much heavier on the knowledge component these days.
I feel like I'm still trying to see how this mid matchup's going to end up faring. Like, from what I remember, it's really Shadow Fiend favored, and this means that Rams, you know, coming into the team as a stand-in, already being in a tough lane matchup, it's never going to feel too nice for him to get a foothold.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the power of the Boom supporter pack is going to help him.
Maybe the power in the chains as well. Is he... what's the chains for here for the Ember? I mean, early level Flame Guard's just going to get taken rid of, but is he trying to get a couple more levels in it, maybe to set up for like a rotation to come through?
Maybe. I'm not feeling as strong about it, but I mean, like you just mentioned it perfectly, right? The Flame Guard's not going to do anything against the Shadow Fiend that's going to get a reasonably fast bottle and then just be spamming you out constantly with spells.
It does feel like, though, a lot of the side lanes are going to be snooze fest. Like Naga, Abaddon, they're just going to be farming against an Underlord and a Nyx Assassin. I cannot imagine we're going to see many kills up there. You know, maybe the bot lane. Centaur, Lion, Ancient Apparition, Phantom Lancer. feels like the Ancient Apparition does have to be on point with the positioning in this game from KezQ.
Yeah, the double stuns are always going to be a bit of a threat. You can see Hishki here with his harass. He's also been able to manipulate the creep wave a little bit. So Marvel, he's going to be able to secure up this last creep with a retaliate and then just move the wave all the way back in front of the tower. So Hishki's going to be totally fine with that. Got the water rune starting to spawn. Sanctity had to go and pick it up before the bottle was delivered through to him. But he's full HP, so it doesn't really matter. Strength of the ranged v melee matchup for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Sitting a full level ahead. Yeah, there's 3 creeps in the previous wave, but he's doing a good job at denying. Already opening up a little bit of a last... Wait, 15-9 to 7-0? I didn't think it would be that strong.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a fun matchup, honestly. Like, it's... And you were saying in the draft, like, how are you actually going to rotate on this Shadow Fiend? You're going to nix Ancient Apparition as your support duo. Like, maybe the one thing I'm thinking of is that Ember goes under tower, or you get a chains with the Nyx heaping into the tree line, but I don't know who... Well, I have to imagine it's the Ember. He's cut all these trees out, which is interesting to me, because I don't know how you kill the Shadow Fiend unless the Nyx Assassin's hiding in that nook and then pops out after the chains.
Alright, so they've already gotten the D ward off in the mid lane, so Rams doesn't need to worry all that much about, you know, the Shadow Fiend's vision. So how about, at the 6-minute mark, the Nyx Assassin rotates, he either gets a haste or an Invis rune, Sanctity doesn't see it, and then they get the stun onto him using that after a spike carapace used with the raise.
Can they get the damage? They can't. Nice TP out from Hishki. Just outie. So you feel like the nighttime is when they're able to pounce?
The nighttime and the power rune, if they're lucky with where it spawns and what rune it is. I feel like I've gone very specific with this prediction.
Oh, well, I love it.
Here's the use of that that Searing Chains. You've already got Hyde rotating through, but again, it's not enough to be able to deal with him. And he's still got 2 tangos rather, only having to use 1 so far in the laning stage, and the water rune bottled. So Sanctity is going to be just fine.
Yeah, and you see, take a look at the contrast here for the Ember. Just got the bottle completed. So, I mean, he's still got a bounty on the high ground, at least for Rams, so we'll be able to get some catch-up. But it's really going to have to try and be on point with his creep manipulation of playing aggressive and dragging it away from the Shadow Fiend.
Mm-hmm. Even got a magic wand coming out to the Shadow Fiend as well, so he realizes that, you know, you're this Ember Spirit that's spamming out the Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains as much as you can. Honestly, you can't afford to spam out the Searing Chains. You don't have the mana pool to do so. Yeah, you've picked up the bounty rune, but it's not going to be enough. They make a 3-man rotation through. Is it going to be enough to pick him up with that water rune being used? Don't think so.
Great recognition on who needs to TP there to help out. Like Lion, yes, you got a stun.
Much faster as well, for a mace.
He just, because he recognizes, like, this is no opportunity. So this is the only opportunity that Rams actually feels like he has a game. He either gets rotations to kill the Shadow Fiend, or he makes his own rotations with the Power Rune and with the Remnant. So, but you've, like, guess what? Top lane Naga, you can do relatively fine versus FBZ solo. He's level 5. You're just going to be able to shove out the lane with the illusion and go back farm the jungle. So it doesn't really matter if you lose the Abaddon for a short duration.
Yeah, base 330 movement speed as well, so you quickly are able to get out of that firestorm. Now we've got the power rune spawning up. Hyde's doing a good job of protecting the top one, and Ember Spirit's going to go bot, so it's the right kind of movement to make, because that mid lane is doing quite rough, as we were expecting.
Yeah, they are definitely doing what they need to enable him, though. Like, with Hyde's rotating, just secured the runes. So, I mean, they're also making a lot of stacks as well. That's a triple at the heart at the Ancients. I don't see any others throughout the bottom jungle as well, though. Already Marvel, though. Level 6, 3 points retaliate. Vanguard Bracer. And he's already looking to really start to cut the creep wave here. And he's just going to try and maximize his farm as much as possible. He's not really going to be able to limit what Dream Missile can get, but he's going to look to be this real big tanky force throughout the early stages.
Dire's structures are fortified.
now that Rams has got his bottle, he can, and he's level 6 rather, now he can start to do these plays where he spams out his mana pool, uses the bottle to refill and get straight back to lane. But it does hinder his roaming potential if he is to do that. It's going to go pretty early on. Is that just a naked Blightstone? Just for a little bit of extra harass, I suppose, onto some of these heroes. Not wanting to go the full Orb of Corrosion.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, feel like he can actually even commit for the full Orb of Corrosion? Because I think especially with how poor of a lane he's had, feels like he kind of just has to rush the Maelstrom.
Yeah, I mean, not only just for his farming potential, but also to deal with this Naga Siren, who's having a decent game on the top side as well. Right now, they are lacking a few ways to reliably deal with the illusions really quickly. I mean, Nyx and AA don't do it at all. Underlord is going to have a rough time just locking them in place, and PL eventually are going to be able to, just not yet.
Like this move though, Radiant. They bring the Phantom Lancer up top, trying to give a free lane to Dream Missile, and they're going to put FBZ in this dead lane. I mean, the Underlord, Vanguard already, 1400 HP, 2 points in the Atrophy Aura. Very difficult to be able to bring down. And it means that also Marvel can't really tank the tower if the Firestorm's dropped on his head. And they're actually going to look to try and smoke up aggressively and play to that Underlord.
They did it under a ward though, so Marvel should know that this is happening.
Rams jumps on the back, Stampede. Actually might get Hishki back to safety. Cold Feet, no proc, but he's still got some remnants to pick up the first blood here. Rams, nice little bit of catch up for himself. And actually, surprisingly, looking at the net worth, he's only 400 behind the Shadow Fiend.
The first blood helps, for sure.
Very much,
I mean,
much.
just getting that 300 or so. Marvel making sure that his movements are always, really effective. Looking to stack up the Ancient Camp at the same time. He was a little early on the hard camp, so he's not even going to realize the fact that it's been warded up. No harm, no foul.
Again, having another relatively slow-paced game here for a Southeast Asia region, but we got one kill for Boom. How are we feeling like the support impact is going to start to pick up, though, with these level 6s? Do you think there's a duo support that is going to be scarier once they hit their 6? Because everyone right now is at the 4 mark.
I mean, it has to be Boom, right? They are very much the proactive team, and it feels like Lilgun are reactive with their heroes. Like, their win condition all centers around this Naga Siren and the Shadow Fiend being able to get a decent level of farm. So that's what Boom are going to be able to try and stop, and they've got the tools for it as well. We can see they're trying to make it go on to Ace here, who's still level 5. It's going to go down. That's the strength of that rotation coming through. The Impale sets up really easily into the Ice Blast, whereas Lilgun, what do they really have? And Abaddon doesn't set up anything.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
See if third. No, they're not going to keep chasing. So they get that T1 tower down bot. Instantly, Marvel's going to look to move up to the top side. He's got the Vanguard. He's got the Hood. Another full tanky build coming through from the Censor, and just playing the similar role of what the Underlord was looking to do. Just play the dead lane, really delay your safe lane tower from falling as long as possible.
Yeah, and that's all it is about. Like, Hishi's going to go down again, but he's not really all that concerned about dying down here. It's a good move, though, from FPZ to come down up to the top lane immediately to get a kill here onto Marvel.
This is a great move. Brings both of them. Rams getting involved. A little bit of experience. It's actually FBZ that gets that kill, and then back to mid. Again, it's just the offlaners. They are the ones to keep these towers alive. Unfortunately, Marvel getting a little bit baited there from that quick maneuver with the Dark Rift, and well, now we're starting to see the levels flood through from Radiant. Hyde's got the Vendetta to play with. We see the Ice Blast as well for KezQ. And this could be really scary here. These two could get a couple of key pickoffs on, someone like a Shadow Fiend, only 1100 HP. The Lion, 965 HP. So you really have to keep in mind about your positioning. And you were speaking up about the Sentry Vision in our previous series when there was a Clinks, and it's going to be the same this game now with someone like a Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, losing that top tower is actually huge. You know, you're an Argosar and you need to be able to farm with all of your illusions. It's going to be a pretty fast Manta style coming through from 1, 2, 3, only about 1,000 gold away. And, you know, you just want to be able to toss those out into the jungle as much as you can. But if you don't have the control, then you very much limit where the rest of your cores are able to farm. And Shadow Fiend, he doesn't need quite as many. But he still needed a way to be able to get that farm off. I think Assassin, will he get away? No,
Nice
Hishki.
Oh, Hishki. They might still get the kill on Rams. Can he get the Remnant away? He can. Oh, the Remnant's going to be up pretty shortly here. He just got out of dodge. I was worried that he might have actually thrown away his life there.
Yeah. It wasn't a nice character. It's like you just pressed E. It was just Hishki waiting a little bit too long with the figure of death damage. That classic little amount that you're that tiny delay that you can't reflect into it. They're going to go for this play with the Spike Carapace, hit Marvel, get the guaranteed stun off, and very easy to quickly pick them up. This is it. Like, as soon as it's hit level 6, always going to go for the Requiem.
Lot of damage.
Dire's middle
Sanctity
tower is under attack.
drop of the combo there.
Dire's structures
But it
are
does now
fortified.
mean the Requiem is on cooldown. And they could have potentially defended mid with like a Song Requiem setup. Because they do have nice follow-up as well. Like the Hoof Stomp AoE, the Earth Spike as well. But it might just be a bit of a slow siege. We actually even see that the Underlord's committing for the Radiance this game. How do you feel about him going for a greedier way to deal with the Naga illusions? Do you think he is going to be enabled to do so? Actually, Stampede on, FPZ. Instantly dropping the ultimate here, but they know the finger's on cooldown, and yeah, he probably doesn't even need to actually rift away. So now they're going to look to turn back. This is a very difficult kill to go on Marvel, especially with the backup of the Abaddon.
It is, but it was really important for them to commit multiple heroes there on Lilgun because you just cannot lose this mid-tier 1 tower. It's going to heavily disrupt Naga's ability to farm. She's got the Manta style now, at least, though.
Dire's top
She's going
tower
into a
is under
Shadow
attack.
Blade?
Yeah, what's going on here?
The rune of invisibility.
That's an odd pick for sure.
Is he just eventually thinking about a Silver's Edge this game? Like, that's... I'm very surprised.
Shamed in
Well,
searing
Can he
speaking
get
of
it off?
Naga,
Bye
he
bye
did.
Naga. That's a big pick off.
Radiant's bottom
First
tower
death of the
is
game
under
here for the
attack.
Naga Siren. Meanwhile, Dreamer Cell is just freely farming. And this is going to be a hero that can get involved a little bit more earlier on the Phantom Lancer. Going for this Diffusal Blade Rush. Instead the Naga with Manta really does increase your farming speed and a little bit of your survivability. But what you can do in fights is really only... It comes down to maybe a Song setup. That's it.
Yeah. We actually see Sanctity. He's the one to build up the Shadow Blade. That seems a lot more reasonable. You know, you're able to set up for these Requiem combos onto them. So that the value of information one more time is going to be key. Marvel is not caught by the AA blast, but he is caught inside the Pit of Malice for now.
Chains out. Ace. This is nearby. We get some protection. They've gone a bit too deep here on Radiant. Looks like Hyde's going to get punished. Mech kill is not enough. So, speaking about the mech, Busy has... He's kind of changed up the build here. Going for a Greaves instead of the Radiance is what he had queued up previously.
I think he was just happy with how his laning stage had gone. He was like, guys, I'm so farmed. I'm so strong. I'm so strong. That he was able to, you know, think about it, theorycraft it, and then his team just brought it back to reality and said, oi, do your job.
Death and good are linked.
Poor Underlord. He just wanted a bit of a different build. Nice play from Hyde. Oh, smoke pops. The life of a support against the Phantom Lancer. It's never fun to play into. Just ripped apart. PO's going to move on forward for more. They've even got the chain. Sanctity's going to be pretty careful here. Protected thanks to the Shadow Blade. Thinking about turning, but Ram's still cutting over on the backline here, Requiem. Hasn't really charged it up properly just yet. Rams is actually trying to look to jump on top of Marvel, but Marvel's still
Shadow
tanking.
Blade's done, though.
Along with the Vanguard, but now Shadow Fiend can't actually go back in. He'll just clean off Kez Cute on the back line. But it does leave Marvel solo, so they can dive deep underneath the tier 2 tower. Hishki has respawned. They're also going to try and bring the Naga Siren as well. Charges up the Requiem, but is there any follow-up damage at the moment? The double raise just gets away thanks to the burst heal from FBZ's mechanism. And now they're going to try and look to turn back on Sanctity. Dream is so showing up to this fight drastically. A double stun, fine. Finding out to both, but there's just no damage. Like, we see, like, Naga teep it in, and now Naga's running away. Like, what do you do? This hero, you're seeing the contrast between the position ones. Like, PL can get involved, but Naga can only use the song to maybe set up for a big Requiem, maybe set up for a couple of, you know, multi-hero stuns. That's it, though.
Yeah, and this is as well. He's been making some decent moves here on Ramses Ember Spirit, but his net worth is way down compared to the rest of his team. Like, this is a lot of the damage coming through from this active PL, and I mean, he's kind of been forced into that situation. It hasn't turned out too bad for them as well. You know, it would be a different story if 123 had been farming this entire time. Now that he's got the Diffusal Blade, that rotation would have felt a lot stronger, but you know, only just picking it up now after you're losing your tier 2 tower, you lose your outpost, you lose so much control over your own jungle, and they're just going to converge in onto the mid tier 1 just to completely take that away from Lilgun.
It is still a very neck and neck game though. Only 1,000 net worth lead at the moment for Boom. Even though Naga hasn't been getting involved, been farming incredibly well across the map. 232 last hits. They're on the low ground though. Not a great spot to be in the choke point. Straight on top of the Shadow Fiend. They're going to be able to bring down Sanctity, the Stampede. Unable to disengage fast enough. They'll try and get a rebuttal on Hive, but the Nyx Assassin doesn't care. And in fact, Nyx Assassin still isn't even dead just yet. Finally, the song's going to come through from 123. But this is just sounding the sirens here for the retreat for Lilgun.
I mean, it was a horrible place to be. Like, no vision, in the river. Underlord loves to be around these choke points like those stairs. Like, you were just dead every single day of the week. And I was about to say before that teamfight broke out, in order to have any chance in this game, I know the net worth didn't look too bad, but Lilgun needed to win that teamfight. Like, it's gotten to that stage.
Nice. Just short on the stun. Yeah,
No setup now for the Requiem either.
And it was also level 2 potentially as well. I mean, Sanctity needs to start getting some charges up in the souls, but you're losing out a lot of real estate on the map now, and it's just going to limit the farm. I mean, Naga can definitely shove out waves, but it's going to mean your rest of your cores aren't going to have as much map to keep up in farm.
Yeah, and look at the impact of losing the outpost as well as the tier 1 and 2 top. The Shadow Fiend, he walks in to try and take something to get some of these souls back, but he just can't. He's forced to come into this fight. Doesn't get clipped by the Ice Blast, but I think it's still going to be too much.
They find the Centaur start, the Ancient Apparition as well. They're going to try and burn down Ace's mana, and in fact, they just burn his life down after the borrowed time. Sanctity will now charge up the Requiem, finds a connection on 2, but he still needs to be really careful afterwards, so it's Kishki? Are they not going to jump the line? Wait, Dream himself didn't go up the high ground. He's still going to get rooted up and burnt down from FZ. I was going to say, like, hang on, I don't know how Lion's getting away with his D-Ward.
Yeah. A little unfortunate for the Shadow Fiend as Requiem ends up stacking that hard camp, so Dreamercell is just able to farm up a little bit more while he's in the area after cleaning up that kill onto the Lion. They're just looking so strong now. The core Boom members, you know, a couple of times Hyde's walked in up to where he knows a Shadow Fiend's waiting on the high ground without popping his carapace, but other than that, you can't fault too much about this gameplay.
Is this Roche? Posturing around it. Firestorm is a great way to be able to bring it down. Keshki's even got a Veil as well. So we'll see if he drops that Firestorm. Be a lot of damage from Mr. Roshan. Okay, never mind. DD does the trick.
Yeah, that's all you need. The scan comes through, but it's going to be too late. And again, the Sentry Vision is good. Aggressive use of the Stampede.
But he's got no backup. The rest of the team, they've just not getting involved. Okay, you've got to bring Naga to these fights now. Like, you've got Manta Diffusal. You're smoking up without the Naga. I feel like as soon as that scan connected, 123 has to look to connect. Because we see what's happening. Like, they have not won a fight. And I feel like the only way they can craft a team fight 1 is if you drop Song and then you've got the full follow-up afterwards. But you're just getting ripped apart. Like, you are getting out-executed from Boom.
Hishki ends up dying, but that was very much a protect the Naga Siren death,
Radiant's
where,
bottom
you know, he was
tower
there to
is
pop
under
any sorts of
attack.
smokes, any kind of rotations through. It's about to say 1, 2, 3. He can't be holding on to buyback. You just need to try and accelerate your farm in any way that you can. Body blocking your own creep does not help with that, but getting up to level 15, I think, is probably, like, it's not even a timing, but just having that extra strength, that extra damage might be enough to be able to turn these things a bit more in your favor. It's gonna get them FBZ, or is it?
Oh my, are they actually even gonna get the kill? How is he still alive? And 1,
he
2,
doesn't
3's
have TP
TP's on
himself?
cooldown.
Oh no. I think they think he's gone.
Tree. That is... Well, a nice attempt. Meanwhile, the Abaddon did get caught out in the river. We're just seeing, though, the impact on the supports right now as well. Like the Nyx and Ancient Apparition, what they've been able to do so far, really, throughout the early game, gave them a lot of pickoffs, and now the cores are farmed enough where they can just group up as 5. Because, you know, Dire can't do anything against this.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower
It's
is
an
under
unfortunate
attack.
scenario.
Dire's
You know, I was
bottom
talking
tower
about
has
the
fallen.
magic
Radiant's
number
middle
of the,
tower
you know,
is under
3
attack.
deaths before 15-minute mark. Sanctity, he hasn't played a bad game. It's just that it feels like everything else around him has kind of crumbled. You know, the Centaur has been going in solo. They've been rotating through. Naga has been in 2 minds about whether she wants to farm or join in onto team fights, and they've been kind of throwing out these ultimates willy-nilly, not really accomplishing much of anything. They're still going to be able to clean up Rams, though. And that's a lot of money. 800 gold?
You've had Manta Diffuser for so long. You haven't I've played this
That's the
aggressive as
first
what
kill.
you are. Yeah, like it's... you just, again, like I'm gonna say it, but you see the comparison of the position 1, you know, how they were playing this game. As soon as Dreamer still had Diffusal, he was posturing really, really aggressive with his farm. And it's not just that the important thing is he's taking farm away from Dire as well. You know, you're giving some of your safe farm to maybe the Ember to get the Maelstrom. And then once he has that, he can be playing a little bit more aggressive. But he's farming in areas where Dreamer Cell could have shown up to these earlier fights. And it's really just... Like, it just seemed like they knew their limits well, and now they have a 7,000 net worth lead. Now you got a heart on the Phantom Lantern. Like, how are you going to think about being able to get the kill?
You got a Skadi, you've got double damage,
Radiant's
and you've got a
top tower is
BKB
under
on
attack.
the Shadow Feed. They have a chance. It's just who is going to be the one to walk up into this high ground area. I mean, they're hoping it's not Dreamer Cell, because he's got that heart and he's got the second life from the Aegis as well. They're just going to have to commit on to taking at least a tier 1 tower top. It'll go down from the illusions.
Radiant's top
So
tower
maybe
is
look
under
to group
attack.
up and smoke one more time.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Now, Radiant do have very limited ways on how they're going to be able to deal with the Naga Siren split
Radiant's
pushing the
top
map. I
tower
mean,
is
both
under
your
attack.
supports do not do a good job at all. You're really going to be relying on the Ember and
Dire's
also the
middle tower
Underlord
is
to
under
do so.
attack.
And Underlord's pretty immobile. I mean, can always regroup with the team with that Dark Rift. So this could give them a... it definitely feels like this is how Lilgun need to kind of play it, though, with just cutting the waves with the Naga illusions. It gets a lot easier once you get more items, once you get a little bit more
Dire's middle
levels.
tower has
And it
fallen.
just feels like they need time
Radiant's
to
middle
come
tower
online. The only
is
issue
under
is
attack.
that, you know, Boom aren't really
Dire's
giving them
middle tower
much
is under
opportunity
attack.
to get into the later stages, especially when they're just walking up high gun already.
Radiant's top tower is
Yeah,
under
exactly.
attack.
Centaur, he's got the 4-star, a wise choice, because it feels like time and time again he's getting caught out with this Diffusal Blade, with the Pit of Malice and the Searing Chains as well. But still, it's just slowly ticking down this tier 3 tower. Shadowfeed's eventually going to come back, so is the Lion.
Radiant's
Where
top
is Naga
tower
Siren?
is
Just
under
parked down
attack.
towards the bottom side of the map.
Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
10 seconds, that age is going to end up ticking out here, so Boom... with
They've
the-
held.
They have held, but they've lost all their outer tower, so it's a lot of real estate, and I don't know if Radiant were even thinking about walking up higher gun as well with that Aegis. I feel like they're very happy with getting all the outer objectives.
Dire's
Alright, here we go.
bottom tower
I
is
Double
say that.
under
damage,
attack.
no Aegis. I feel like you have to. You kind of have to go for a backstab. You know the supports are going to be here on the back line. They're not going to
Long,
be in
long
mid, that's for
backstab.
sure, Lilgun. They've been revealed. This is a long way around if they're going for a wraparound play. Your base is going to be gone by the time you get there.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Looks like they're
attack.
pinging out as well. Scan,
Dire's
beautiful
bottom
scan.
tower
And now
has fallen.
EpiZed's positioning. They get rid of the D-Ward. well aware of how they're postured at the moment. Song's going to come through. Are they all grouped up?
They're
Sanctity.
split up, though.
Who are they going to try and bring down?
They don't know.
He hasn't
They-
decided. No, the Song completely wastes. He's going to try and charge it off in the middle. It's not going to matter. Sanctity still gets the ultimate off. It's a lot of damage on top of the Nyx assassin, but it doesn't matter. Dream is still in fighting condition, but the BKB popped as well. They're going to try and look to
Naga's
turn
dead.
Sanctity. They've already burnt down the Naga sign. Sanctity as well with the BKB. Going to try and retreat up on the higher ground, but they're just losing too many numbers. Boom. Beautiful read of that smoke gank, scanning the side of Lilgun, wrapping around there. They just are unable to get them grouped up on the Song. An awkward start for them for that fight. Cost them 4 heroes, and it cost them a lot of damage on the objectives as well.
They just needed to make a decision. You know, they went the super long way around. You knew that people were attacking the tier 3 tower. I feel like Marvel's getting baited in here into another one. Just leaps forward like a bunny rabbit, and it's going to cost him.
No,
And that's it. That's a bit of a tilting death there with the GG being called. 27 minutes. It's going to be around 28 when the Ancient finally falls. Oh, just 1 second short. But yeah, just... It's time. You know, this is one of those instances where you really see the difference between... Yeah, let's call Boom like a tier 2 Southeast Asian team and Lilgun tier 2.5, 3. Just because Boom just seemed to do things like 5 seconds faster. And in a competition like this, where the teams are so even across the board, that's going to get punished pretty heavily. Even when they're playing with a stand-in on Boom, the rest of the team has this mentality where they're listening to one person. And all you had to do was look at that last team fight to see that Sanctity, he couldn't decide who he wanted to go on, you know? And a big part of that was because they could never catch someone out in a position where they were all clumped together. Whereas if they moved together as 5 a lot sooner, took the slightly quicker route, made a decision, maybe they could have caught someone, but just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it was not meant to be. Boom. Taking game 1 here. Now Lilgun, they're going to drop 3 games so far to start the day. And we saw yesterday, they went 1-3. The moment they're 0-3 today, maybe they can go back-to-back days 1-3. Honestly, we're reaching at the moment for Lord Raccoons. You know, players that we've been a fan of when we saw them go through the lower division, but unfortunately, like you were saying, when you're a couple seconds behind against a team like Boom that are just going to, it seems like, have an edge in execution and just the communication, it's just, unfortunately for Lilgun, they did try something as well with this draft, you know, going Naga, going Shadow Fiend, and we saw it was able to have relatively strong time in the lanes, but apart from that, they weren't really able to make any plays. And I wonder if this is where we go back for Lilgun to have some tempo. Because it feels like when you still can have some strong lanes, but after that, they didn't do anything with that. The tempo kind of fell. Boom were able to pick it up with the level 6s from the supports that came through and the Ember rotating. And I do want to say as well, great catch up from Rams, even though he didn't have the greatest time mid. Nonetheless, Boom, beautiful performance from them in game 1. They're now 1 game away from continuing with their flawless start here at the Lootbet Pro Series 6. We'll send it to a break with game 2 coming up shortly.